Good day, folks. In this lesson, we're going to be creating a health bar. We're going to be coding that health bar, and we're going to be doing some things with the GUI. So let me focus back on Ruby. It's actually the second time I've recorded this. Unfortunately, the first time I did this, I recorded the wrong screen. So this will be my third time doing this, so I should be very practiced. This is a long one, so let's buckle up. Okay, so we're going to start off by creating a new element called a canvas. This canvas is going to represent the elements of the kind of what we see that aren't really going to interact with the rest of the like kind of our game objects. It's going to be just sort of view only. It's going to exist outside of kind of the rest of the stuff we're doing. So let's go ahead and start off. I just did a right click. I'm going to do a UI, and I'm going to set it up so that it's a canvas, okay? We're going to keep it with the default, like you're going to see here. If I double click on it, you see how big it is? We're going to be adding some elements. This is going to be like sort of a stand-in for our screen, like what the screen, like what it kind of renders when we like view, like when we play our game. So there's some more information related to like kind of like the different types of canvases you can have with a user interface, like in the text instructions. I recommend checking that out if you're interested. And actually in the next lesson, we're going to be working with, right now it's set to be a screen space overlay. There's some other items here where we could do a world space, and that's going to be something we're going to be doing with the dialogue system in the next lesson. Okay, so anyways, we are going to keep the sort of the constant pixel size set as it is, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and with Canvas, we're going to go ahead and do a right click, UI, image, okay? And let's go ahead, I'm going to lock this, and then we're going to go to UI, and we're going to be setting it up so that the UI is going to be set for the our health bar, okay? And so that's going to be the specific one, this the UI health frame, all right? So let's drag that over to our source image here, and there's that health frame. We're going to do a couple of things at this point. We're going to click on set native size. It's going to turn into, it's going to be huge, okay? And then let's also then select here this rect tool right there. Okay, so let's make sure we got our image. We're going to resize this down. And what's nice is when we kind of did that, you see how we got a guideline here with our with this overall canvas box. Let's go ahead and just kind of put this in the upper left-hand side. Now, through the magic of clicking on the game tab, we can see how this will render. So if we click on game, we'll see that's where that goes. I think that's actually really good. I like it how that came out. So let's go back to scene, and we see that's where it sort of renders. The next thing we're going to do is set up some anchors, okay? And we're going to go ahead and set it up so that the like it's always going to be in the upper left-hand side. So let's go ahead and just click here, and this will be something we're going to be doing a lot today. Let's click on this button here, and this anchor preset we're going to set to the upper left-hand side. This will be so that if I change the size of my game, of like my preview, it's always going to be in the upper left-hand side. You see how it kind of moves as I sort of change the size of that screen. Okay, so that's good to go. We'll be doing a ton of this today. Okay, so cool. All right, next thing. We're going to go ahead and create another child image of the this image here. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this. Let's also rename this as call this health UI. And then let's go ahead and we're going to say UI image. Okay, and the image. Oh, we got to make sure this is unlocked now. Okay, we're going to make sure that we're on this new image here. All right, so the image we're going to use here is going to be this character portrait here. So let's go back to the image, set the source image to that. Let's also rename this while we're here to just like character portrait. portrait. There we are. Good. Again, we're going to click on the set native size, and then we're just going to kind of scale this down. There we go. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so some of the things that we have to sort of keep track of with this is like typically what's going to happen if we change the size of this the health UI object. Unity is going to do its best to sort of adjust where the portrait is in relation to that. But you see how it's not staying in the center of that field. So we're going to do a couple of things. We are going to set what's called the pivot point for the. Oh no, that's going to be later on. Sorry. For this one, we're just changing how the anchors are set up for the character portrait. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and with our preset, we're going to change it so that, let's go here to our preset here, and then we're going to set our preset to keep it at this, but then with our, why is that not going? Character portrait, set there. This is it. We want to set it so it's like this, and that bottom right. Now let's go ahead and change where it's sort of bounded. Change it so that the bounding box is going to be right like that. Okay, let's make sure that we're in good shape now. Let's go to Health UI. There we go. That's what we want. So what that does is, instead of having it be scaling in relation to the parent object, instead it's going to be scaled to that box that we had set up. Okay. So again, we went to our character portrait. We set our bounding box initially to that bottom right object, and then we just changed the size of it. Okay. All right. So next thing. We need to set a bar that's going to decrease in size whenever we lose health, or it's going to increase in size when we gain health. Okay, so we're going to use what's called a mask, and that's going to be basically a stencil that is going to exist over this part. Okay, and then what's going to happen is that's going to make it so we don't have to make some sort of weird shape that would fit only in here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a child object of not the portrait but of the health UI. Let's go ahead and just do a right click, UI, and then we'll set it to image. We're going to call this, we're going to call it a mask. So let's rename it to mask. Okay. And then what we'll do is let's go ahead and set it so it kind of exists just over where we would have our health bar go. Okay. And before we go and create another image that will sort of the blue image, the blue bar, which actually right there, that's going to basically decrease or increase depending on the change in health. We're going to do something interesting, and this actually, the first time I did this tutorial during my practice run, I was like, I had to actually look at the comments and the forums on this. You're going to go ahead and click on this button where it says center, and now you see how it says pivot? This allows us to change the pivot point. Currently, that pivot point is in the middle of this mask. We are going to be, by using code, going to be changing the size of this mask. If we would want to decrease the size of this mask by a certain percentage, it's going to take a little bit off of here and a little bit off of here. We don't want that. We want it to just, like, when we lose health, jump back. We don't want both sides. So we're going to adjust this pivot point all the way to the back. All right. And let's just switch this back to center then. Okay. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to set up our next situation where we are going to create a new mask. A new child image of this mask. So we do the right click, UI, image. Okay. And what we're going to do is with this, click on the anchor points. Now you're going to go ahead and press and hold Alt on your keyboard. That's going to be 2 keys over from your spacebar. I'm using the left Alt. Okay. See how this changes? We're going to have it just fill. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and then do the anchor to the health bar, which is going to be the top left. Okay, that's going to anchor it like that. Okay, at this point, for our source image, let's go ahead to this UI health bar and set that as the source image. Cool. We are now going to go ahead to the mask, and we're going to go ahead and add a component. Guess what it's called? It's called mask. All right, and then where it says show mask graphic, we're going to unclick that. And there we go. So we've got the sort of easy part done. We've got the graphical elements, like if we go to game, we see what that looks like. Well, unfortunately, we don't have any code that's going to affect the size of this, that's going to interact with this. So we're going to make a new script. And I am going directly from the text instructions, if you want to reference those. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to call this UI health bar. And I put it in the wrong folder, so I'm going to just click and drag this and put this in the scripts folder. A little jump the gun. So let's open this UI health bar. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and add, I'm just going to copy this code over. Okay, let's discuss this. Nothing crazy here. We have a class called UI health bar, and this is going to be new actually. Public image mask. So we've been working with game objects, we've been working with floats, with booleans, all types of different things. This image is going to be something that we're going to be working with when it comes to our mask size. So this is going to be a variable that's going to hold the image that we're going to be interacting with. Float is going to be just original size. So if we look at it when the game starts, we're going to basically say set a variable called original size equal to the mask's width. So if we look at the mask here a second, where are you? There we go, Unity. Go to this mask, we look here, it's going to get that width, okay? So let's go back here again. Cool. We've got, so original size is given that value. We then, we're going to have something called SetValue that's going to accept a parameter called value, which is going to be the type float. And that's basically going to say, if someone calls the method SetValue, I'm going to change the size of the mask. All of this kind of stuff is basically saying there's a variable called, a object called mask. It has a method called rect transform. It's going to then has something with set size with current anchors, and then where does it take value? The very end. So it's basically going to be accepting that parameter. Okay. We're at this point going to have to do. Actually, let me save this, and you'll see that we're going to get an error. It's okay. So let's re-import that, and you see, oh, hey, I can't create an image variable. So it's going to be dealing with this right here in terms of our where it says using Unity Engine. So a lot of the things in Unity are going to be like, there's a lot of things Unity's like, I know you're going to need to do this. So I have basically a way for you to kind of reference these pre-existing things. So what we're going to be doing is we need to have something that basically says using Unity Engine .ui. That allows you to create this image variable called mask. Basically, if we think of like these import statements, or it says using. In the world of like Java and Python, we call them import statements. But it's basically saying there's these pre-existing bits of code that Unity provides us. And so it's basically saying you are allowed to use these. We're telling you that our Unity, hey, this code should be using these. This is what we mean. Okay? So let's go ahead and save this, and let's go ahead and we're going to be working with our Ruby script in a little bit. Okay? So let's go back here, make sure we don't have any errors. Give it a second here. There we go. Yes, we are in business. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make some adjustments to our UI health bar. So we're going to be adding something that Ruby can basically check out. So this is going to be a new thing here, and we're going to discuss this in a second. So this is from our text. Okay, that's a little bit too big. All right, welcome to the world of static variables. So when we've been working with things in Unity, and let's bring up a good example of this. Let's go to our enemy controller. Okay, so this is in our enemy controller. Every enemy we create, like you could have 15 different enemies. Each of them have their own set of what are called instance variables. So they have their own speed, vertical, change time, smoke effect, timer, direction, broken. All of them exist independently of each other. If I have enemy 1 is set to broken false, that's not going to affect enemy 10. Now, public static UI health bar. This is something different. A static variable is going to be something that exists, is a unique variable. Okay, so there's only ever going to be one. There's only going to ever be one place where this variable will be adjusted. Okay, so that's sort of a big difference here, and that's what that static means. Okay, so now we're going to add another set of a little bit of code that's going to be above our start. Okay, awake. We've encountered this when it came time to code our projectiles. So this was related to, I think, when we initially only had with our projectile code, we had a start, we didn't have awake. Awake is only going to be created when something has actually been instantiated. So in this case here, we have something called, whenever we have a variable called instance, it's actually going to refer to the UI, the instance that's being spawned up. If you want to Google some things related to this and programming, the keyword this and programming might be worth your time. Okay? Start is fine, and then when it comes to set value, that is also fine as well. So the only two things we need to add was basically something on awake, and then also that static variable, okay? And that's where that is coming into play, all right? Cool. So it is time to adjust Ruby. Okay, so let's go to our good friend Ruby. Where are you, Ruby? Okay, let's go ahead to line 90. So this is right now in the change health. For me, it's line 90, change health function. So you're going to have something here right beneath the current health thing where it's like that math.clamp thing. You're going to have something where the debug statement was there. I am re-recording this video, so I don't have the original, but just know it's like we're going to be getting rid of or adding to the part where it just says like the system, like the debug part where it reported the health. Okay, so I'm just going to add this line here. That is the wrong. There we go. This is what I want. Okay, UI health bar dot instance set value current health / float max health. Okay, let's just sort of simplify this. Okay, so we have something called UI health bar, and it's going to be the only it's going to be an instance of that. We're going to say set value. Set value, we code it here. Set value, we code it here. And then we're going to basically say pass it the parameter current health divided by max health. Now, what does that float there? If you want to read about this in the text instructions, you can, or Google it yourself. When it comes to programming, computers need to know what type of numbers it's working with. So in some cases, you're going to have what are called integers, or ints. Those are going to be whole numbers, 5, 3, 26, 92. And then you're going to have floats. Floats are like 9.2, that kind of stuff. When it comes to division, when you divide two integers, anything after the decimal point will be thrown away. This could be sort of problematic because you'll lose a lot of accuracy. So let's say you had divided two numbers and the product was 1.95. If it's two integers, the Unity's going to the computer is going to throw everything away after the decimal point. So the answer for two integers being divided to each other, that in the case that I gave you, would be a 1. Okay, so that's sort of what we did there. Okay, so I think I might have seen an error. So let me see if I have to troubleshoot. Hopefully, nothing too crazy. All right, I think I actually know I might have not used the correct. Yeah, all right, I'm going to just pause a second while I troubleshoot. All right, so the issue was I had a typo. So I didn't put in health bar. And there we go, okay. Good stuff. So yes, I had misspelled health. Okay, all right, folks, that was a good one. We need to do a couple of things. Let's go ahead and check that out. We need to set up so that it is actually going to, we have to add these components. Okay. So for our health UI, we are going to need to set up some things with our, the script we just wrote. So we go take UI health bar, we drag it to health UI. So we see here we've got now a component here where it says mask. We're going to click and drag mask right there. Let's check it out. There we go. Good. All right, now we're finally done. I wish you the best of luck. Great stuff.